First thing we need to do in making this spatula is actually create this taper. The blade of the spatula is thinner than everything else because, well, the thin blade needs to be able to get in and around food. So the very edge of our spatula is about a 1/16 of an inch thick. We go from the total thickness of the stock down to a 1/16 of an inch over the course of 4 inches. Now we're going to do that with the block plane. Most difficult part about creating that taper is going to be figuring out where you should put it on your board. Don't just randomly pick a side and then start sending a block plane through it, because it's almost guaranteed you're going to have tear out, it's going to look terrible, and you're going to get discouraged. So you're going to have to look at the grain. So the grain are like these light and dark lines. I've sketched right along the grain lines in pencil so you can see this easier. So the block plane is pretty much just a chisel that rides in a metal car. So that I'm not waving a chisel around, let's just imagine this is the block plane. When you're deciding which part of your board you should create the taper on, look at the direction of the grain. It might be pretty parallel, like this down here, or it might be at an angle. If it's at an angle, here's what you need to be aware of. Imagine my fingers are the grain, and they're going to be tilted at that same angle. If you send your block plane into grain that is angled towards it, see I'm angled towards the block plane is actually just going to pry that wood and those fibers up, and it's going to look terrible. So what you need to do is cut from the other direction. See, I can't pry this finger up or open. It's impossible. A plane blade only has one choice, and that's to cut through the fiber. So I wouldn't want to create this taper on this side right here. I would have a lot of tear out and it'd look bad. So what could I do? Well, I could, right, this is the same board, same portion of the board. I could just use this side. Now if you have parallel grain or just about close to parallel grain, it doesn't really matter which side you pick. I personally would pick this top side because this guy's just slightly angled that direction. So this is 4 inches right here. This is a 1/16 of an inch from here to here. I'm going to just transfer the edge of this line to my face grain. And I'm just going to use that as reference to make sure that as I'm planing parallel with the bottom of my board. I'm not planing it like an angle. I have my workpiece clamped to the edge of the workbench. Use 2 clamps because that's going to prevent it from pivoting, meaning going back and forth. Get them nice and tight, about as tight as you can get them. Now, right, I need to take a lot of material off of this edge, so I'm going to start my plane not back here, but over here, so I can take off majority of the material. And here's why we transferred that line onto our face grain, because you can see I've been planing a little heavy on this side, and I haven't been planing as much on this side, right? Another important tip, make sure the edge of your board is actually not on the table, because your plane is going to end up hitting the table and you won't be able to get to one spot. So make sure your board is hanging off the side of the table, but it's still sturdy. It's not going to move easily. Look at that beautiful taper. We went right up to our line, but we didn't go past it. Next, we're going to lay out the outline of our spatula. I have the taper facing up towards me, so that's got to be the blade. It's hard to decide. We can't make this side of the blade now. Before we do any sketching, we need to strike a center line down here. So first line we need to strike is this curve right here. Our sketch says this curve has a radius of 1. So again, radius is the distance between the center to the outside of the circle. So I'm going to set this guy to 1 inch. I'm going to line up the pencil with the edge of the board, and then the point should be on my line. Alright, press down but not too hard on that point. Next part's going to be a little weird, but trust me. We're going to go right at the 4 inch mark. We didn't get rid of that. We're going to strike a line that is 3/4 of an inch long. So half of that line needs to go on the upper side of my center line, half the line needs to go down here. So what is half of 3/4? Well, half 3/4 is actually just 3/8. You can multiply the denominator by 2. That gives you your answer. So I'm going to go 3/8 up and then 3/8 down. Now the next dimension says that this curve right here has a radius of 7. Uh-oh. Our compass only goes to about 6 3/4. So what can we do? Well, we can, here's a little life hack, shoot this pencil out a little more. Now my goal is to connect the edge of my circle where the pencil is to this line right here using my compass in a rotating manner. If I were to just set this on the table, the compass, the point and the pencil would be on different kind of planes, so I'm actually just going to put this guy on a piece of scrap. This is the same material, same height. So I'm going to move this guy around so that my pencil, I'm not going to sketch anything yet, but I want to find a place where my pencil touches the edge of the circle and this 3/4 inch mark. So I'm a little off. I'm going to try moving this guy there. And it's really just going to be kind of guess and check. That did not work. Here, almost. That's it. Alright, next part's easy. We're going to sketch out the back of our handle. So this guy has a radius of 7/16, so that's what we'll set our compass to. Again, line our pencil up with the edge of the board, point on the center line. Put a little plus where the compass ended up because that's actually going to be the point where we drill this 1/4 inch hole. Next part's the easiest. We just need to connect this point right here to the outermost part of our circle. Almost done. We really don't want a sharp corner right there. It looks bad. Yeah, that's the main reason why. Our sketch says that should be with a curve that has a radius of 1.5 inches. So set this guy to 1.5 inches. It's really not much of a curve. If you make note of where that circle hit these lines, it hit it right about here. So I'm going to put a mark right about there and right here. We should be hitting those same exact points on this side, is what I'm trying to say. Alright, now we're doing the fun part. We're going to buzz this guy out on the bandsaw. Get within probably 1/16 of an inch of these lines. Don't hit that line, don't go past it. Turn the machine off, let it stop before you back it out. You do not want this blade hopping out of the tracks. Alright, file down your lines. Only rule I need to remind you of is file up and grain. If you do that, you should be alright. File down to those lines. Now we're going to round over all these edges. Then we'll go to sanding.